Yo, team. So let's talk about the Nocturnal Awards. I'm happy for Nick, man. He comes back, almost immediately announces that the award show returns. Over 60,000 people voted. He has bands playing now, world premieres and shit. It's crazy what he's able to accomplish now, but I wanted to say this now that I have somewhat of a platform, right? It's a small ass platform, but a platform nonetheless. It's always been apparent to me after the show is over or while the voting is going on in previous years, but it's been more, what's the word? I don't know, it just stood out to me more this year, but I've touched on this briefly in other videos. I can't pinpoint the video right off the top of my head, but it makes it clear how divided the metal scene actually is. Ignore the hood, by the way. I don't feel like dealing with my hair, but I think what I'm trying to get at is, and this is no fault of Nick's at all, right? Because the guy actually tries to incorporate a lot of different subgenres into the categories and shit like that. Like let's look at even a category like Guitarist of the Year. I'm looking at the nominations on the website, by the way, right now. You have you have Viljarta, you have Killswitch Engage, Rivers of Nile, Tetrarch, fucking Dream Theater, right? Mirar, Malevolence, Trivium. You look at a lot of this, and if you're from the other side of the metal scene, being primarily death, thrash, and black metal, you look at this, it's just core bullshit, but Nick actually does a good job of incorporating other people. Like, you have Rob Flynn of Machine Head, you have Matt Heafy. I guess you could still consider that metalcore, but the point is, you have fucking John Petrucci, and he does his best. Because in years past, I've seen the criticism always be what I just said, it's just core bullshit. This isn't metal. And I guess we should be glad these are called now the Nocturnal Awards, not the Nick Nocturnal Awards. And be glad they're not called the Metal Awards, because if that was the case, then yeah, wouldn't be too good for our friend Nicholas. Obviously, we all have our tastes and our preferences, right? But, and again, this is no shot at Nick, because the guy actually does his best to incorporate anyone under the sun, but some notable nods I would have liked to have given, because you do have a lot of good stuff here, but you also have a lot of bands that I personally just don't check for. I'm not saying I dislike them or that they're trash or no shit like that, but like for album of the year, I'm not checking for like We Came as Romans, you know what I mean? And to be fair, I still have to listen to some of these myself. I always confuse Peeling Flesh and Paleface Swiss. I don't know why. They're not even the same fucking band. I always confuse them. But yeah. Some notable nods I would have liked to have given. Again, no shot at Nick. Love you for what you do, fam. But, for example, Warbringer put out a pretty good album this year. Black Braid. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. I say him, but with that band. Hell Ripper, but I feel like his was too late into the year to be considered, if he was to have been nominated for something like this. Various other artists that are part of the whole death, thrash, and black metal contingent. I'd like to see just a tad more effort to include stuff like that. But I also understand that Nick's audience, or the audience that watches the Nocturnal Awards, is not checking for that, death, thrash, and black metal. If they like anything like that, it's more so like through like deathcore, when they get the blackened sound in there, or obviously deathcore in itself incorporates elements of death metal. So it's when it's like that. And again, not knocking the awards, but we are going to talk about other stuff that happened. But yeah, fam, my point is, if let's say next year comes and we have more nominees from the other side of the scene, it's still up to those bands or the social media teams for those bands to promote this shit and be like, hey, come vote for these motherfuckers, right? The problem with a lot of like death, thrash, and black metal bands too is the members, or whoever the fuck is responsible, they have a very primitive mindset, very boomer mentality of, like fuck social media and all this other bullshit. But it would be one thing for them to be nominated against bands like Spirit Box, Bad Omens, and Sleep Token. But what's also, I'm of the mindset, like, what's the point if the fans of those bands are not going to vote to help them win against the big dogs who have the machine up their ass, right? It'd be It would almost be a double-edged sword to incorporate them, I think. But I would still like to see a more well-rounded metal representation board, if you will. Like, keep coming with all this heavy shit, right? Because I like deathcore and metalcore and all that, but I also want to see more thrash, more black metal, more death metal. Just personally, that's a personal thing. Because I think at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who you nominate, it's what band has the most fans. And like I said, it's up to the bands to also promote the awards and be like, hey, we're nominated for this, come vote for us. But we'll see what happens next year. But yeah, man, just a little more metal. We're gonna have Sir Nicholas here in the background, but there is one category I had gripes with. And it was with the category of angriest song of the year. I reacted to it. Varials by Varials. I'll Find the Dark by Varials was not even nominated. And no shade to any of the other bands. I voted for Body Snatcher because there was no Varials, but I think that song got snubbed. Personally, I don't want to say surprised, right? Because what the fuck is this? Anyways, I don't want to say surprised, but I reacted to the album, and I don't know if my overall reaction to the album kind of gave me a sour taste, but see, I Prevail, Violent Nature, good song. You want to see my reaction to the album, by the way? Go check it out. That's a good song, but you have I Prevail in there, but you don't have Varials. I'm just kind of like scratching my head. I'm sorry, I think that song got snubbed. It was one of my favorite songs of the year. I voted for Body Snatcher. They didn't even make top 5, I think, from what I remember. But anyways, I could be wrong. I forget. And just look at this set, man. It's insane. I think the last thing I want to touch on for the Nocturnal Awards is the crowd. Now, I saw in the comments, there was people that attended this that were like, oh, fuck you, we were trying, we were jumping and getting in there, but you gotta understand what this shit looks like from the outside looking in. And again, this is no fault of Nick's. It's definitely not Boundaries' fault, because they put on a fucking amazing show. But that crowd sucked, man. I don't know if you gotta mic them up, if you gotta get a band that, like, majority of the audience knows or something. I don't fucking know. A band that's less heavy and more, like, you can sing along to. I don't know how you solve this problem, but listen, man, you're part of something that's happening for the first time and you don't go off. I'm sorry, you a bitch. Like... I don't know what to tell you. Like, there was security there was nobody crowd surfing. I saw a couple dudes jumping up and down and shit when they were told to jump by Boundaries, but bro, you're part of an audience. The first time that this has an audience, and you're not doing it justice. They're telling you to move, all this other shit. Your chance was there, fam. A lot of you failed the assignment. We need a better crowd next year. I don't know if you need a better venue or a better city. Maybe do this in Chicago instead of Fort Wayne, West Bumfuck, Indiana. But again, shout out Boundaries and shout out Nick for even being able to get a band like that to play. But the crowd, y'all sucked. I don't think enough people have told you this. Y'all sucked. And I get it too, man, right? Like, it's you sat there or stood there, I guess, for 3 hours. You're tired, and then the band comes on last. Maybe they need to start with the band next time. But yeah, like I said, over 60,000 votes. That's insane. Maybe they need to start with the band next time. But everything is a learning curve. They'll be better prepared for it next year, I'm sure. But I just hope this didn't turn bands off from performing next year. Because also, you got to think about, I don't even know what went into this financially, right? Like, I don't think Nick has Sleep Token money. Bring me the Horizon money. Shit, fuck around, bring Metallica in there, imagine. But yeah, man, if you were there, if by any chance you managed to see this gets to you, if you were there live, comment what the fuck happened, what you think happened. And let me know, because from the outside looking in, that looked bad. Yeah, I think maybe the solution is to start with the band and not end with them. Maybe if it was, like I said, more a band that you can sing along to and less a band that you have to move to, it would have been good. Or maybe the award show doesn't need to be 3 hours. I don't know what the solution is, but yeah, let me know in the comments. Anyways, shout out Nick. I hope he keeps doing this. I'm glad he's back. Sadly, I didn't get to see it live this time around. Work's been kicking my ass lately, but shit is what it is. I saw the VOD, and yeah, man, I hope Nick gets to the point where it's like the fucking Game Awards, and it's just world premiere. You know, back when like E3 was still around, world premiere. Every 2 minutes, world premiere. Bands just line up to showcase their shit, and this is the go-to place to debut a music video or a project or anything of the sort. It's just gonna be full circle, right? We're gonna go back to being MTV in the fucking 80s. So when releasing videos actually mattered. Yeah. Hope the crowd's bigger next year. Hope the crowd is better next year. Again, comment if you were there, if you even see this. Hope the algorithm does its thing. Yeah, I'm curious to see where this shit goes, man. Also, comment if you're part of the other side of the metal scene that I just said and you managed to see this. So if you're like more like the banger TV or the, you know, the people that watch like Nate Garrett, for example, as I do. You know, if you want to be put on to more of the stuff that I just said, like death metal, thrash metal, black metal, definitely go check out his channel. We'll be here for it next year. Comment anything that you have to give input on concerning these awards or concerning what I said, the division between the metal scene or anything really. I want this to be a discussion piece in the comments, but we'll see what kind of traffic I get. Anyway, if you're new here, just know that at least for now, I'm primarily a reaction channel. So if you do have any recommendations, let me know what you'd like me to react to. Doesn't matter what it is, bands, rappers, singers, we fuck with all forms of rap, all forms of music around these parts. Forgot my own outro. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, support your boy, check out the Patreon if you can. There's not much going on over there, but it's there. And with all that being said, team, I go by Sub-Zero on the internet, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.